Hey everybody, welcome to Commentary Bro. I am back with another video. I did not plan to be making all of these Exoticals United videos, but she keeps saying dumb stuff that needs to be called out. So this video is going to be about a recent take from her natural hair video. The real reason why black women left the natural hair movement. So in this video, we'll watch it and we're going to react to it. She had this very horrible take. So basically she was talking about how there are people who will spread awareness about how there are certain things that are dangerous to black women. For example, the chemicals in relaxers can be very damaging to black women and can cause cancer. And also, she didn't bring this up, but the braiding hair that's used can cause cancer. Like some of the things, the chemicals that are in it are not safe. So basically what Exoticals United is saying is people who are claiming that relaxers are damaging, that like certain chemicals and things that people do to their hair are damaging and bad and they shouldn't do them, she's claiming it's fake outrage and they're policing beauty. So I want to break this video down point by point. So let's hear what Miss Exoticals United has to say.
I will sometimes have natural hair Nazis come on my channel. Sometimes I will have skin tone Nazis come onto my channel as well.
Not to be that person, but isn't it a little dramatic to call people skin tone Nazis or natural hair Nazis? Like, is that an appropriate terminology to use towards people? I mean, I get that it's like kind of a colloquialism, and I'm not going to nitpick, but that is an interesting choice of words.
And they will say things like, these relaxers or whatever you're using, it has all these chemicals in it and like it's going to cause cancer. Once again, that's fake outrage. If you truly cared about ending cancer, you could be doing way more for the cancer community than commenting online about how someone shouldn't get a relaxer.
I'm gonna say it once. Exoticals United is not a good speaker. She's not very smart. Because listen to what she just said.
And they will say things like, these relaxers or whatever you're using, it has all these chemicals in it and like it's going to cause cancer. Once again, that's fake outrage. If you truly cared about ending cancer, you could be doing way more for the cancer community than commenting online about how someone shouldn't get a relaxer.
So in case it's not incredibly clear from you just listening to what she said twice, Exoticals United is saying you cannot spread awareness about how these specific things that black women are known to do that are very common within our culture, you cannot call out that getting perms, which is a very common thing that even young black girls do. They literally have perms slash relaxers that are supposed to be for kids, like with kids on the box. And this is nothing new. Latavia from Destiny's Child, when she was a little girl, she was on the box of one of those. This is a big part of our culture. And Exoticals United is saying, no, don't call that out. You're not allowed to call that out. The only way you can advocate for cancer is like volunteering at a hospital. Even though this is a very common practice in the black community that's still going on to this very day. Why does she not understand that it's beneficial to say, hey, this thing that happens in our community a lot, this normalized thing that's happening in our community, we should be spreading awareness about the fact that it can be harmful. And especially with the braiding hair, because with perms, it's generally well known that perms, some of the chemicals aren't good. It's something that's been in the conversation for a while, but the braiding hair, people buy a bunch of those packs, they'll have them in their house, stockpiling them for when they get their braids, and I feel like that message is not as known. I think it's extremely important that black women tell other black women, hey, this isn't the safest thing to do, because black women are trying to keep their hair up, trying to be presentable, they're trying to wear their hair, express themselves, have a protective style. Little do they know this quote-unquote protective style could be exposing them to chemicals that could harm their health long term. And the fact that you're trying to make the claim that the only way to advocate for cancer is to volunteer in a hospital, you sound so foolish and stupid. If I know a lot of black women get perms and we're braiding hair, and I also know that these things can cause cancer, why is it that I have to keep my mouth shut and not say anything about it just because you, Exoticals United, and some other people perceive these things as beauty enhancements? My thing about it is, it's fine if people choose to get perms or if they choose to wear braiding hair because the perceived benefit for them is bigger than the cost that it may have for them. But my issue with Exoticals United is she's trying to assign malice to people who are simply spreading awareness about a risk that is very near and dear to this community, to the black community. That's like if somebody said, well, why are you telling people to not smoke cigarettes? I think you're telling people not to smoke cigarettes because you're secretly jealous of them and their beauty that they get from smoking cigarettes. It's all performative. You don't actually care about the risks of smoking cigarettes. You're just threatened by their beauty. She sounds crazy. And she's gonna get into this later in her video, but Exoticals United basically, in this video, she's trying to claim that people who care about social justice, that she believes they don't actually care about the social justice causes that they're advocating for. She always makes the claim, oh, it's about social status, not about social justice. And one of the things I find so interesting about Exoticals United is a lot of the ways in in which she views the world. Like, she talks a lot about dark psychology and privilege stacking, and I don't necessarily think it's wrong for people, especially marginalized people, to take advantage of the things we have as far as like the access we have. I'm not saying you can't be pure and good person and also be successful, but I do think with Exoticals United, she's basically someone who advocates for playing unfair in an unfair system. And as someone who has big goals outside of this Exoticals United critique channel, I do understand where she's coming from in the fact that you may not necessarily just be a smiley person with a nice personality and good intentions, and that the universe is just going to give you everything and that you're not going to have to fight or be smart about it. But my issue with this is I feel like with Exoticals United, because she is so focused on this dark psychology and this, what is it? Is it the 21 laws of power? Like, she's even referenced Machiavellianism. I think with Exoticals United, because she's so self-focused and she's very much internalized a lot of this individualistic dog-eat-dog world mentality, I think for her it's very hard to realize that there's some people who are ultimately very community-based and who are very focused on, hey, other black women, because you are also black women who have a similar identity to me, I want to spend my time and energy in the ways I can, making sure you guys are not making unhealthy choices that could negatively impact your health, because my racial identity is something I value a lot. Like my intersection between being a black person and a black woman, and your intersection being a black person and a black woman, and us having similar beauty rituals and practices. If I know that there's something that's normalized in our community that's causing us harm, that could take us out, on top of all the other things that could take us out, whether it be health, external concerns like the freaking police, let's talk about it. This lens she views the world in of, oh my gosh, like, if they're advocating for something, it's only because they're jealous of your beauty. It just shows how sad this very individualistic worldview is.
Why is it that your strategy to fight cancer is to police another woman's beauty?
Advocating for somebody's long-term health is not policing their beauty. Would I rather have cancer or would I rather be pretty? That's what she's essentially saying. You're not allowed to tell them about the risk that these practices have because you're trying to police whether they're pretty or not. And that's another conversation too of why would somebody care so much about being perceived as beautiful in society that they would put chemicals on that are damaging to them when they could just wear their natural hair. It's really weird how Exoticals United, she one, justifies skin bleaching, but two, justifies putting dangerous chemicals on your hair rather than wearing it as it is. There's a lot to unpack with that. And it's like, wouldn't it just be better for that person to accept their natural hair rather than putting the harmful chemicals on? And wouldn't it be better for them to accept their skin tone rather than putting these chemicals on? Especially when you consider the Eurocentric standard of beauty. I feel like she justifies these ideas of quote unquote beauty enhancements because they can privilege you or pedestalize you in the society we live in, but it's like, maybe as black people and people with black ancestry, we should fight the system. And I get that she's one of those people who pushes back against that, like, oh well, I as an individual have to fight the system, like I didn't create the system. But it's like, how do we change these Eurocentric beauty standards if we just conform ourselves to them through these beauty practices?
The fakest outrage I've ever seen in my life. If you truly cared about cancer patients, you could be volunteering at your local hospital in your neighborhood. You could be donating, I don't know, blood, bone marrow, donating to cancer research. But instead,
and here is another thing I find so funny. Exoticals United does this thing where she assumes if you're critiquing something, you haven't lifted a finger to actually do anything in the real material world. Which is funny to me because a lot of the black women who've uploaded content about the harm of chemical relaxers and also the harm of braiding care, a lot of these people are black doctors, black female healthcare professionals. So full-time job, they're doing work to make sure that black women are safe from dangerous chemicals like these. So it's just funny how it's this idea of, oh, there's so much you could do outside of commenting. And even too, like, there are people who in their real life, they may be advocating about this stuff. And also too, they could be advocating and donating cancer and all of this. But it's funny how she makes it where the only way you can help cancer is by not calling out the thing that's harmful, because she values quote unquote beauty so much, even though it's like beauty is making your hair less like it naturally is, which is a whole conversation in itself. But it's just so funny how people cannot have ever lifted a finger to have done anything if they do something that you don't agree with.
you want to come online and pretend like you care about cancer, and then you want to randomly tell pretty women who happen to have relaxers, well, that's bad, you're going to get cancer and die.
This right here is golden. It is comedy gold, and I'm going to explain to you why. Number one, Exoticals United exposes her own internalized anti-blackness and texturism, because she's implying, because people are saying, hey, you should not wear this relaxer because it's damaging to you because the chemicals are bad. She's exposing her own internalized anti-blackness and texturism because she's implying that that the person is trying to like take this woman down a peg by making them wear their natural hair and not wear this relaxer. So I find that funny because it's like, why do you think that they're trying to humble somebody? Because maybe this person, like, maybe they believe the natural hair is the most beautiful, so maybe they want this person to shine even more by wearing their own natural hair texture. So it's just funny how it's seen as like humbling somebody to tell them that a certain style is damaging. And the second reason why this is so funny is I feel like Exoticals United tries to make the claim that she wants to empower women. I feel like there's something in her bio about empowering women. I just looked at her bio and it actually says womanhood. So the funny thing is Exoticals United tries to act like she presents this idea of womanhood on her channel, of like women being in solidarity with one another, women supporting each other, helping each other to level up and things of that sort. She tries to claim that her community is better than the Black woman empowerment community, that the Exoticals are more productive and it's a better space, which is why people from the Black woman empowerment space are coming over to the Exotical space. But one of the things I find so interesting about this is a lot of the same issues she calls out in the Black woman empowerment space with Chrissy, she does the same thing, because she's saying womanhood, but she's basically trying to train women to say, hey, if somebody advocates against braiding hair or relaxers, they're not doing that because they actually care about your health. They're doing that because they're jealous of you, because you're pretty. It's funny because she claims she's about female unity, but then she's causing division. Exoticals United called Chrissy out for saying don't compliment light-skinned women, because she was basically saying how this is like causing like animosity and divide between light-skinned women and dark-skinned women. But it's like you're causing divides between women who are advocating for Black women's overall health by trying to malign them and say that they're just secretly jealous.
This is fake outrage. You want to be a fake, it's like this fake social justice warrior movement sometimes. And so I think that that's one of the reasons why some Black women, they don't really care about being a social justice warrior for the natural hair movement, myself included. So even though my hair is natural, I still wear wigs and weaves sometimes, and I don't care if people view me as being self-hating because I wear a fake ponytail, or like, I don't really care, because I know that most of the women who are so hard in the natural hair movement, most of those women have fake outrage against other women anyway, or they're going to try to use their natural hair sometimes to almost one up you. Like in my case, where I had other naturals saying that, oh, my hair's damaged. And it's like, well, no, bitch, I just have a different hair texture than you. So instead of,
one of the things that's funny is Exoticals United made a video talking about her hair, like her natural hair and different experiences she had relating to her hair. And it's funny because in that video, I remember her saying something like her hair was damaged at certain points in her life where she had to, like, I think at one point she said she got the Rihanna bob when Rihanna was like starting to get popular because her hair was damaged. So it's just funny, there are actual times in her life where her hair's been damaged, but if somebody else says her hair is damaged, and it's like, no, they're just hating. But then she'll talk at length about how she had to repair her hair and the insecurities she went through. I think she talked about having like a micro insecurity because of her hair, and like even how she like will not use beauty enhancements to a certain degree because like I think she was saying something like she would feel fake if she kept using a beauty enhancement of a wig and felt like she had to wear it. So it's just funny how no one can say that her hair is damaged even though her hair has spent long periods of time being damaged.
admitting to yourself that you're most likely jealous, or you wanted your hair texture to look like mine.
Guys, did you peep that? There was some more texturism in that. Actually, if you're critiquing me for anything related to my natural hair, that means you just actually secretly wanted my texture. Like, do you see this? Like, she's implying that people are jealous of her because, like, they say anything about her. And I'm not saying that that can have ever happened, but it's just funny how she jumps to this defense of, oh, you actually want my texture and you're mad you don't have my texture. So it's like you think you're better because you have a certain texture, because you're assuming everybody wants it. Like, why can't they just love their frizzy hair and, like, be calling you out as well? So that is all I have to say for this video. Thanks for watching. And most of all, I have to save the best for last. Thanks so much to you, Exoticals United, for saying dumb things that don't make sense, which is giving me content to call you out on the dumb things you say that don't make sense. She is the gift that keeps on giving, so thank you so much.